You're listening to the Agentic Engineer Podcast, weekly AI agent intelligence for builders. I'm your host, and with me as always is my co-host. Let's get into it.
Issue 12. Agents that spend money. Not metaphorically. Actually spend money. Amazon Bedrock AgentCore Payments just launched with Coinbase and Stripe. The AWS MCP Server goes GA with 15,000 APIs crammed into 3 tools, and a paper that formally verifies multi-agent coordination using TLA+. Let's go.
Quick rundown. AgentCore Payments gives AI agents wallets. Coinbase for crypto micropayments, Stripe for fiat. Agents can discover resources, negotiate access, and pay for them inside a single execution loop. No human in the loop for routine purchases.
The AWS MCP Server hit general availability. 1 managed server, 15,000 API operations, 3 tools total. Your agent doesn't need 200 tool definitions stuffed into its context window anymore.
And TraceFix uses TLA plus model checking to formally verify multi-agent coordination protocols. Cuts deadlock from 31% to 14%. Mathematical guarantees instead of hope.
Last week's poll result, agent quality loops won. You want your agents getting better over time, not just running.
The big one. AgentCore Payments. Your agent can now pay for things.
Okay, I need you to slow down. When you say pay for things, what does that actually mean? Like, the agent has a credit card?
Better. Each agent gets a programmatic wallet via Coinbase. Its own address. For crypto micropayments, we're talking fractions of a cent, instant settlement. Stripe handles the fiat side for traditional card and ACH flows.
So an agent needs premium market data. Today, a human provisions the API key, sets up billing, hard codes the credential. With this, the agent just discovers the API, checks the price, pays, and moves on?
Exactly. No human in the loop for routine resource acquisition. And it's not just APIs. Agents can pay for web content, compute resources, MCP servers, and other agents.
Wait, agent-to-agent payments. That's the part that makes me nervous.
That's the part that makes it interesting. Your orchestrator agent hires a data cleaning agent, pays it 0.3 of a cent, gets clean data back. No integration work. No vendor contract. A marketplace where specialized agents sell capabilities to general-purpose ones.
I hear you, but this sounds like giving a toddler a credit card and saying good luck. What stops an agent from draining a budget on garbage API calls?
The governance model. Spending limits are enforced at the infrastructure layer. Agents cannot bypass them. Per agent budgets, per resource caps, per session limits. All auditable via CloudTrail. This isn't give the agent a card and hope for the best. It's IAM-style policy enforcement applied to financial transactions.
So it's more like giving a teenager a prepaid debit card with a $50 limit and transaction alerts.
That's a better analogy. And the companies already building on this aren't small. Cox Automotive has agents purchasing vehicle data feeds. Thomson Reuters has agents accessing legal research on demand. PGA Tour has agents buying real-time scoring data for content generation.
Those are production workloads with real money flowing, not demos.
Not demos. Here's why this is the big one. Every other announcement this week makes agents smarter or faster. This one makes agents economic actors. An agent that can pay for resources is an agent that can operate independently. It doesn't need a human to provision every dependency.
I'll push back on one thing. You said no human in the loop. But there's still a human who sets the budget, defines the policies, and approves the agent's access to the wallet in the first place. The human moved from transaction-level approval to policy-level approval.
That's exactly right. And that's the correct trust boundary. You don't approve every purchase. You approve the spending policy. Same way a CFO doesn't sign every expense report, but sets the expense policy.
The agentic economy has infrastructure now. Payment rails. Governance. Wallets. The only question is how fast the marketplace fills up.
And whether the spending caps are set correctly. Because the first time an agent burns through $1,000 on bad API calls, someone's getting a very uncomfortable Slack message. Quick hits. 5 stories. Rapid fire.
OpenAI Symphony. Open sourced under Apache 2.0. Written in Elixir. It watches your project board, linear or GitHub issues, spawns Codex agents per task, and delivers proof of work. CI status, PR reviews, walkthrough videos.
23,000 stars in the first week. The shift from coding agent to work management layer is real. Engineers stop babysitting agent sessions and start managing work items.
I love this conceptually, but I'm skeptical about the execution. Spawning an agent per ticket sounds great until you have 40 agents stepping on each other's code. Merge conflicts from hell.
Fair point. The coordination problem doesn't go away just because you moved it up a layer.
Mythos finds a curl vulnerability. Daniel Stenberg confirmed it. Anthropic's restricted model found a real CV in curl via Project Glasswing through the Linux Foundation's Alpha Omega initiative.
First confirmed finding from the model everyone's been waiting to see in action. Other AI tools already triggered 200+ bug fixes and a dozen CVs recently. But Mythos is still restricted access only.
The security research use case for frontier models is becoming undeniable. Finding real vulnerabilities in battle-tested code like curl. That's not a toy demo.
Claude platform on AWS goes GA. Full Claude API through your existing AWS account. IAM auth, CloudTrail audit, single AWS invoice. Every new Claude feature ships on AWS the same day as the native API.
For teams already on AWS, the friction to adopt Claude just dropped to 0. Managed agents, code execution, MCP connector, all included. This is the same pattern as OpenAI on Bedrock from last week. Model exclusivity is dead and buried.
DeepSeek TUI, Rust-based terminal coding agent for DeepSeek v4. Auto mode picks model and thinking level per turn. Workspace rollback via side Git snapshots. 22,000 stars gained in 1 week.
The demand for non-Anthropic, non-OpenAI coding agents is clearly massive. People want options. And a 1 million token context window with native LSP diagnostics is genuinely compelling. Anthropic Financial Services. Full suite of vertical agents. Pitch agent, market researcher, GL reconciler, KYC screener. Work as Claude Cowork plugins and managed agent API deployments. Partner plugins from LSCG and S&P Global.
10,000 stars in a week. The vertical agents playbook is here. Each agent bundles skills/commands and data connectors by financial services vertical. This is what enterprise adoption looks like.
And it connects to the big one. If agents can pay for data feeds autonomously, these financial agents become self-sufficient. They don't need a human to provision their Bloomberg terminal access.
Paper breakdown. TraceFix. Formally verified multi-agent coordination via TLA+.
TLA+. That's the same formal verification tool AWS uses for their own distributed systems. DynamoDB S3, the serious infrastructure.
Exactly. And the core insight is simple but important. Multi-agent systems fail silently. Deadlocks, live locks, race conditions. You don't get an error message. You get an agent that just stops making progress.
I've seen this in production. 2 agents waiting on each other. No crash. No log. Just nothing happening. You only notice when a human checks why the task never completed.
TraceFix applies formal verification to that problem. It synthesizes coordination protocols as structured intermediate representations, generates +cal logic, then iteratively repairs the protocol using TLA plus model checker counterexamples until verification succeeds.
In English?
It writes the coordination rules, checks them mathematically for deadlocks, and when it finds one, it patches the rules and checks again. Loop until clean.
How many iterations does it take?
62.5% pass on the first attempt. None requires more than 4 repair iterations. The verified protocols cut deadlock and livelock from 31.1% to 14.1%. That's a 55% reduction in coordination failures.
Okay, but who's actually going to run TLA plus on their crew AI workflow? Be realistic.
Most people won't. But the practical takeaway is adoptable today without full formal verification. Define your agent coordination as a state machine. Monitor transitions. Alert on unexpected states. You don't need TLA plus to benefit from thinking about your agents as a distributed system instead of a chat thread.
That's the real lesson. Stop treating multi-agent systems like conversations. They're distributed systems. They need the same engineering discipline.
Topology-monitored execution achieves 89.4% task completion in the paper. Just monitoring the state transitions gets you most of the benefit.
Time saved, 8-minute read versus 52-minute paper. 6.5x compression. Tool of the week. The AWS MCP Server. One server, 15,000 APIs, zero context bloat.
Here's the problem it solves. Giving coding agents AWS access has two bad options today. Option 1. Stuff 200 tool definitions into the context window. Expensive, slow, confusing. Option 2. Give them CLI access and hope they don't run RM-RF on your production bucket.
I've lived option 2. It's terrifying.
The AWS MCP Server is a managed remote MCP server that gives coding agents authenticated access to all 15,000 plus AWS API operations through 3 tools. That's it. 3 tools.
3? For 15,000 operations?
Call _AWS for any API operation. Search _documentation for finding the right API. Read _documentation for current docs. Your agent figures out what it needs, looks up the docs, and calls the API. All within 3 tool slots in your context window.
That's elegant. Instead of preloading every possible tool definition, the agent discovers what it needs at inference time.
And here's why that matters beyond just context budget. Your agent's training data is stale. CDK constructs change. API parameters get deprecated. New services launch. The MCP server gives agents access to current documentation at inference time. No more agents reaching for CLI commands they memorized from 2024 training data.
What about auth? I don't want my agent making API calls with God mode credentials.
I am credential-based. Same credentials your team uses. All actions auditable via CloudTrail. And here's the key part. IAM condition keys distinguish agent actions from human ones. You can write policies that say agents can read but not delete at the IAM level.
So I can give my coding agent full read access to understand my infrastructure, but block any destructive operations. That's the right trust boundary.
Setup is straightforward. Install UV, add the MCP server to your coding agent config, point it at your region. Works with Claude Code, Hero, Cursor, anything that supports MCP.
This is genuinely useful today. Not a preview. Not a beta. GA. If you're building agents that interact with AWS, this replaces an entire SDK in your context window with 3 tools.
Your context budget thanks you. Agent Index Update. Weekly Star Tracker, May 14th.
OpenClaw at 370,725. Plus 2,650. Still the undisputed leader at nearly 2x the next framework.
The interesting story this week is Diffie, plus 881. Its highest non-OpenClaw delta since we started tracking. Best showing in the index.
LangGraph at plus 595 and CrewAI at plus 572. Those two are in a genuine neck-and-neck race in the orchestration tier, separated by less than 25 stars of weekly growth.
OpenAI Agents SDK at plus 334, gaining momentum post-Symphony launch. N8 in steady at plus 792.
And Semantic Kernel at plus 50. Weakest performer for the second straight week. Microsoft's investment is clearly flowing to Agent Framework at plus 238 instead.
The market is still expanding. Everyone's growing. But the growth rates are diverging. The winners are pulling away.
Hot take. AI doubles your output. It also doubles your maintenance debt.
James Shore published the math this week. If AI doubles your code output, but doesn't have your maintenance costs, you hit 50% maintenance time in 15 months instead of 2.5 years.
That's not a productivity gain. That's accelerated technical bankruptcy.
The ship faster narrative assumes maintenance scales linearly. It doesn't. Every line of code is a future liability. Double the lines, double the liability.
I disagree with the framing, though. It's not about lines of code. It's about decisions. An agent that writes 500 lines of well-structured code creates less maintenance debt than a human who writes 200 lines of spaghetti under deadline pressure.
That's fair. But most agents today aren't writing well-structured code. They're writing code that passes the PR review today and becomes someone else's problem in 6 months.
So the real benchmark for coding agents isn't lines per hour.
It's maintenance cost per feature over 12 months. Nobody's measuring that yet.
They should be. Because if your agent writes 10x more code, but you spend 10x more time debugging it next quarter, you didn't gain anything. You just moved the pain forward.
The only AI coding tools worth using are the ones that produce code you'd actually want to maintain. That's the filter.
And right now, most teams are optimizing for velocity without measuring the maintenance tail. The bill comes due in 15 months. Sure did the math.
That's a wrap for issue 12 of the Agentic Engineer Podcast. Subscribe to the newsletter at the AgenticEngineer.waltsoft.net and follow us on YouTube at the Agentic Engineer Pod. Share it with a friend who's building with agents. We'll be back next week. Until then, keep building.